Welcome everyone to Place and Space. So what's this topic all about then? In a branding context, the power of place and space is not to be ignored. Place has for decades been accepted as an important part of the marketing mix. Often seen though by countless students in marketing as the most boring of all the elements they study, in recent times this is changing. Now it is critical to what we call experiential. But in my view, place and space has been important to us all for as long as we've existed. It defines us, makes us, places us in a set context. After all, for mine, one of the most powerful brands there is home. The ethics of place and space. Whilst the importance of place and space is growing more and more and more as we seek to find places that can move us, make us see life differently, to embrace life more simplistically, there are some ethical concerns growing. For example, are we destroying what we've come to enjoy? Or are we really protecting these places by spreading our experiences through images and videos across the world of some truly special places many have never seen? And finally, do we have rights and experience even if we've paid to go somewhere and look at what we see before us? The creation of spaces and places. We can also create places and spaces that become experiences. Think of how many places in Canberra fit that description. For example, the Australian War Memorial. This is something that theorists have long discussed. At a very basic and local level, think food court at your local shopping centre. But if you've ever been to the War Memorial on Anzac Day, it really becomes a special place and space for the entire nation. Dynamic and fluid places. We can also create places and spaces which are dynamic and fluid. Think festivals and events here. Floriade in Canberra, for example, is the single biggest event held in the ACT every year, yet it is dynamic due to its very nature. The flowers literally change every single day the event is on and are gone altogether the day after it ends. And now we have night Floriade, where what you saw during the day is replaced by a different scene at night. Altering place and space brands through environmental factors. And of course, in a marketing at a more localized consumption level is the emphasis on making places and spaces experiences. Babbitt and Darden, for example, talked long ago about the power of the environment on changing and altering behaviour and consumption. And the importance of atmospherics was mentioned by Turley and Chibet when the era of the big mall is probably at its peak, and long before the net, tablets, smartphones, and social media addictions were even passing thoughts. If you're a fan of the Gruen transfer, you know that the name Gruen is the name of a theorist who came up with how shopping malls and places could be transformed into consumption arenas. The pristine Southern Alps in New Zealand in that picture has also transformed our image of that place and space from being about a nation of rugby and sheep to a bucket list item none of us can ignore in our lifetime. Starbucks and those tables. Yep, those tables do actually work in a consumption sense. They make us feel that we're not so lonely after all, that we're closer with the person across the table from us, or even if there's no one across the table from us, we're still closer to all those around us. So they do work, but it does emphasize again the role of environmental factors in making places and spaces unique to the consumer. Altering places and spaces. Music. People love hearing music in places. 90% of people in a recent study said they prefer to walk into a retail place with music than none. 90%. Amazing. So the power of other elements of marketing also add power to the power of place and space, even here. And we can see that's the Impact Comics open day they have every year in Canberra, or they did before the coronavirus. And that's in Garema Place in Canberra. Negative place and space. We can also have negative place and spaces for many reasons, as you can see from the opposite right with Chernobyl. This means places that have power on us for negative reasons, mainly in experiential sense, because of what they are and what they symbolise. Some new terms we're seeing here are dark tourism, disaster tourism, and negative space. So all these different terms relate to our need or want to travel and look at these places, which we know to be negative, but yet have some sort of appeal to us. So my final thoughts in this space. This is one massive area. We could have been here literally all day exploring concepts, thoughts, and examples from this area. But alas, the course is getting to its end. Do have a think about how this area can be used as not just part of a brand strategy, but can be the very brand itself. It is closely connected to experiential marketing, but unlike anything else in modern marketing, can't be replicated by an app, website, or even a video. Instead, the power of place and space is co-created with us by the very brands we're experiencing. If anything, the reaction, response, and feelings we have are all unique to that one very special moment in time we have somewhere that will never ever be repeated again as long as we live. That's the finish of this lecture. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you soon again next time.